So I'm drinking a new smoothie that I just got from Arden's Garden. And if you go to one of their stores, you can get a bigger selection than they have at the grocery stores. They only have a select few items at grocery stores. But if you go to their store, you can get like a whole shebang of all types of products. So I saw this motherfucker, dedicated cruciferous cabbage smoothie. And I was like, And I ain't no bitch. I don't like when I see something healthy or that's good for me, and I'm like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, because it's just food. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. Drinking cabbage is intense, but I want to try it. I want to challenge myself to try it. It's actually not bad. It's got bananas, strawberries, lemon juice, flax seeds, plus, of course, the red cabbage. But it's super thick, but you don't even taste the cabbage, probably because it's bananas. But either way, check it out. Hey, so let's talk about anthocyanins. Basically, I don't know if you saw my story, the beverage that I had, it's a leftover bottle, but from Arden's Gardens, the cruciferous cabbage smoothie that I consumed, and I bought more of since, because it's fucking fantastic. But I wanted to talk about why it's so good for you. So something I found out just out of curiosity, because I like to go, whatever I'm drawn to, so I'm saying, okay, buy that. And I'll figure out later why I was drawn to it. So I Googled it, and of course, because I love a good Google, I found out, surprisingly, that red cabbage, in a lot of cases, has more vitamin C per serving than oranges. Go figure. Red cabbage, who would have thought? So a lot of foods that we consume, and this is a whole thing, because you start going down the conspiracy theory hole, you start finding out the food pyramid ain't what you thought it was. The only reason why the food pyramid was built the way it was is because certain factions, like the dairy industry, the meat industry, the corn industry, they all paid for their chunk of it. Ain't got shit to do with nutrition at the end of the day. The only part that makes somewhat of sense is the top part, where you're not supposed to eat a lot of fats, okay? But even that, we'll get into that at some point down the line. But regardless, oranges ain't what you think they is. They're great, they're good for you, but when you're programmed from a early on in childhood to just think of vitamin C oranges, nothing else but oranges. But nonetheless, red cabbage is a surprisingly high source of vitamin C, and there's a ton of other fruits and vegetables out here that are high in vitamin C that you don't hear about either. But this is where learning things on your own comes into play, and not just relying upon what you're told by the system and by other people who call themselves experts or whatever. Find out things on your own as you journey through this wonderful life, and let your curiosity guide you. But anthocyanins are a component in red cabbage. It's basically what makes red cabbage red. So it's in a ton of different foods. So anything that you see in the grocery store, from blueberries, acai, you remember when that shit was all the rage? Part of that was because of the anthocyanins in it. What else? Eggplant, purple potatoes, blueberries. Just trying to think of anything like red grapes. Stuff that has a natural red pigment to it. Blue corn, like a reddish, purplish, blue pigment to it, is 9 times out of 10 high in anthocyanins. So what are anthocyanins, we ask, right? It's just the simplest way to think about eating that has helped me a lot, because there's so much information out here about disease and what do I eat. And when you start going on this journey to try to figure out what to eat to do better, you get overwhelmed because there's so much information about everything and you don't know where to fucking start. The easiest way to think about disease and eating that has helped me is all disease is just inflammation, swelling of a different form or another. Inflammation inflames. It's not good. It's not doing good. You should be at a calm state inside yourself, in your internal situation, it should be calm. Think about, peace and quiet versus chaos, noise, sirens going off, that's disease, right? Peace and quiet is good health. So all disease, when you get down to the root of it, it's just a form of inflammation with a different name. That's it. And you want to consume things that help that not happen. That's it. So that's the easiest way to boil all this shit, get rid of all the, I gotta remember the term, and that, because you'll just say, fuck it, I'm just gonna go get some Popeyes, because I don't have time to figure out what this is. But it's very simple. You want to do as much as you can to keep your insides, spirit and otherwise, because it is a holistic process. It's not just about what you eat. It's about how you think. It's about how you feel. It's about how you take care of your spirit. It's about how you exercise. All of those things come together to create you. But at the end of the day, you want peace. Internally, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, all of that. And you want to avoid everything. Food, people, situations, otherwise, that disrupt that. That's it. So, anthocyanins are basically things, they're a flavonoid. You can Google that if you wish. But all different foods have flavonoids. But they're one of the easiest ones to consume, because you can just look at something and say, oh, that's purple, that's a reddish tint, that's probably got anthocyanin, I'm gonna eat that. Red wine has it in it too. So it helps, it's an antioxidant. So antioxidants, you hear this word thrown around a lot. What does it mean? So an antioxidant helps corral something called free radicals. Okay, again, think about it in common sense terms. What does a free radical sound like? Motherfucker that's coming to wreck shop. And that's exactly what it is. So in your body, when you're in a state of homeostasis, which is another word for peace, calm, things are nice and quiet. You can read your book. You don't have to worry about a bunch of noise, not many people coming in and out, ask you questions, things of that nature. You can meditate. Everything's cool. When free radicals come into play and you got too many of them bouncing around in your body, they're starting to create chaos. Okay, they're throwing your shit off. Okay, they coming in your house, they knocking shit over, things are starting to break. You hear stuff breaking in the back room, and they shaking you up, and now all of a sudden you can't concentrate. The free radicals is all coming all through your body, and then they steal energy from different functions that you got going on in your body that keep you going in a good state. They start stealing energy from basically your cells. And so when your cells start losing energy, they start breaking down, they start dying, then you start getting shit like cancer, then you start getting shit like diseases, other diseases. And your body wants to keep them out of the picture. Antioxidants help keep them out of the picture. And so the more things that you consume that have antioxidants, the antioxidants can act as an army, so to speak, to come inside you, get rid of the motherfuckers that's causing chaos, aka the free radicals, and keep you in a good state of calm. So anthocyanins are great at doing that. So that's the easiest way that I can break it down to make it make sense. That's how I like to just digest things, so it can make sense to me, because it's everything in life is actually very simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated, and you just really got to get to the root of what is it doing, and that's pretty much that'll answer all the questions that you got about it. So it is it's a red pig. It helps color food with a red pigment, but at its root, it's a powerful antioxidant that can help you stay healthy. And that's why you hear people talk about like purple sweet potatoes are really good for you. Even a lot of blueberries is really good for you, because this rich pigment is very powerful. And that's something else, to look into when you're eating. Just a common sense thing. The more colorful your food is, the better for you it is. If you got a plate and everything on that bitch is beige or various shade of brown, you ain't getting much out of this shit. It's paste. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it is paste, and it feel like you eating paste. It tastes good, you know what I'm saying, when it's going down, it's firing your neurons, it feels good. But once it hit that stomach, it be like, damn, I ain't getting nothing out of that but a good time, you know. And it is not, you know, everything doesn't have to be literal, you know. And I hope that the people that consume my content, of course I can't control everybody, has enough common sense to know that nothing is like this strict box, you know. Because one thing you don't want to do is turn food into your god as well, because now you've lost the plot there too. So it's not about making something outside of yourself your god. You're the one that turns everything into what it is as a god. So take it for what it's worth, you know. If you follow your intuition as you go throughout this life, and decide and listen to your body and what it's telling you it needs, whatever that is. And only you know what it's saying, and you're the only one who can create that connection and communication to hear what it's saying, okay? But I'm just here as a vessel to share what I know that helps me. So yeah, the red pigments in the food help keep your body in a good place, and they're called anthocyanins, you know. But you don't really have to remember that. If you want to, throw it out at a dinner party if you want. But either way, when you're going in the grocery store and you see things that have that deep purple pigment, that reddish pigment, that reddish color, that's what the baseline of what it is, what it's about. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share that with you. I'll be back whenever I decide. See you.